I'm fabulous.
And we're here today once again to talk about issues that we're dealing with basically on a daily basis. I hope all is well with you wherever you are in the world today. It's a cloudy day here, but we know that because of Jesus, He is definitely shining on the inside of us. So I hope you're having a wonderful day. What about you,
I'm
Fabulous?
having a wonderful day. It is kind of cloudy over here, but you know what? I feel good.
Me
In
too.
spite of it's not that hot, humid.
Right, it's
we
not.
it's been humid here, so I'm grateful we
Absolutely.
got a little breeze.
We got a little breeze going on, and so it's not tank top weather yet. Still got to put on a jacket and, keep yourselves, kind of wrapped up if you're in this part of the world. So you won't be catching colds and flus and stuff. So it's not that time yet. But to take off all the clothes and just, we need to keep warm
Right.
because it's a little chilly. But anyway, listen, today we're getting ready to get into our topic for this afternoon, and it's going to be on a subject that we are dealing with right now.
Yes.
It's a right now topic, right this minute. So let me tell you what it is. So Fabulous, when you want to talk about it first.
Um. Yeah, I'll start. You
Yeah,
want to announce the topic?
let's do it. Let's do
Today's
it.
topic is on weight loss.
Woo!
Weight loss.
Yes,
A
yes,
challenge.
yes,
It's
yes,
a challenge.
absolutely. And it's something that I think has become really a big topic across the board because there's so many of us that are struggling with our weight. And let's just talk about it for a minute. Food can become an addiction. Like anything else, we can become addicted to food.
Yep.
And I am the first one to raise both of my hands that was a problem that I had, or that I had, and I still have in a sense. But there's some things that I did change in my life that changed the dynamics of my weight loss. So let's just talk about it as women. We are very, I think we're very subconscious about the way we look, our appearance. Some of us, let me say, like there may be some people like to be more on the heavy side, and there's some of us that we don't, you know. But let's just talk about the whole thing. All right, weight loss is a problem to a lot of us because it challenges us to be better and to pull the body under subjection
That's it.
and get the flesh under control. And it's just easy not to do that. It's just easy to continue to eat until we get sick, to say just late it for it, I'm going to do what I want to do. As long as there's clothes out there to fit me, I'm going to do what I want to do. That's the way I was thinking. As long as I can find something to wear, I'm good. you know but not realizing that food is could be good and it can really be bad.
That's it.
So we're going to talk about it all for a few minutes. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Fabulous. I opened it up a little bit. We're going to talk about other things as well. Go ahead, Fabulous.
I think it's also like the way we approach the journey, the weight loss
Mm-hmm.
journey. So it's
Mm-hmm.
hard. So for me, I was making a mistake comparing the me today to the younger me, where
Mm-hmm.
it used to just I used to be able to eat whatever I want,
Whatever you want.
and it would just
Exactly.
fall off. It wouldn't
Ex-
stick to me. It was easy
exactly.
to lose weight in my
Exactly.
younger years. And I think, I started thinking, I did a lot of walking.
Yeah.
Like I could have purchased a
Yeah.
car at one point, but I chose not to. Like I didn't
Exactly.
want to because I was younger, less responsibility. So I would walk. And that's
Yes.
probably why the weight would never stick. But the me today, I had to realize is how you approach this journey because it's a lifestyle change. And
exactly.
and like I realized I shouldn't set goals that's unattainable. Like
Exactly.
don't put too much on yourself. You can't. You want to say, okay, I'm gonna lose 30 pounds, in 2 months.
Exactly.
How are you gonna do it?
Exactly. Fabulous. It's a mind thing. It's a change of
Yeah,
mind.
it really is.
If we can condition our minds and pull our minds in and control the thoughts that be going through our minds when it comes to eating. Because I love to eat. I'm gonna tell you
Mm-hmm.
straight up, I love food now. I'm telling you, I do love it. And then it can be a problem.
Yeah, yes.
And I don't want it to be a problem. I want it to be something that I really enjoy. But then when I don't want to enjoy it to the point where I'm putting on 10 or 15
That's
pounds
it.
every spoonful.
Exactly.
I got you. So we got to talk. See, we're different.
Right.
Even though we're women, our bodies are still
They're still
different.
different. It's
So
true.
we're not wired the same. So what works for you might not work for me.
Correct.
And when you talked about the 30 pounds, people, we do set goals that maybe are a little too high.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start off at bottom and then grow bottom up type thing.
Right. Right.
Because if you start resisting, it's gonna get harder. And then when you lose the 10 pounds or lose the 5 pounds, you're gonna gain it right back
More
because
too.
your
Right.
mind isn't conditioned. It's
Mm-hmm.
not disciplined. See, all of this journey is about discipline. It's about disciplining your mind, about even disciplining your heart,
Yep.
disciplining your eyes to make sure that you can look at that cupcake, but don't
You don't
try
have
to
to eat
reach
it.
and get it. You can look at it, God, but don't let your eyes tell your hands what to do. You know, you gotta. It's discipline. You gotta say no, no, no.
Do I really need
Do I
it? Do I
really
have to
need
have
it?
it
There
right
you
now?
go. We gotta kind of talk to ourselves because if not, we're gonna put on weight. And then, you talked about being young. Those were the days that we could gain 10 pounds and lose it the same
Lose it
day.
the same day.
But once we start getting older, that weight don't want to go nowhere.
Listen, nope. Nope.
It ain't going nowhere.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
I'm sitting over here right this minute while we talking, thinking how in the world I'm gonna lose this last 25 pounds, God. How am I gonna do this? Gotta have a plan.
Mm-hmm. You do.
My brain gotta, come into subjection with what I'm thinking
Right.
and go ahead and let, my thoughts be of that which is good and healthy.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta start thinking healthy. Now let's go back a minute, Fabulous. Now we're not saying we no dietitians.
No, we
We're
are
not no
not.
doctors.
Nope.
We're talking about our own journey,
That's
what
it.
it took for us to lose weight. That's
That's
what we're
it.
talking about today. Okay? So we're not talking about nothing professional. I have to keep saying that because I don't want people to think we over here doctors and we ain't doctors.
No.
We over here struggling,
Right.
trying to figure it
Fighting
out.
for our life in that area.
Trying to figure this out. Please, this is a
Yes,
journey.
it is. It really
You
is.
know what I mean?
It really is.
And we're trying to be professional with ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and talk to ourselves, because there's a lot of things that's attached to weight, and
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 oh
we
my
and people
goodness,
don't. I don't think people really get it. That
the
listen.
health issues,
Oh
right?
my
Yeah,
God.
right.
From what my testimony is, Fabulous, tell them about yours though.
So for me, I started realizing it got out of control.
Mm-hmm.
So in the beginning, I thought I was in control. That's where we
Mm-hmm.
mess up at, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm in control. I could eat this and eat
Right,
that,
right,
and
right,
I'll
right.
just do this and do that,
Right,
and knock it
right,
right off, and then
right.
that this and that don't
It
happen.
don't
So for
happen.
me, I was my goals wasn't realistic, right?
Uh-huh.
I would set myself up and lose some weight, but then
Uh-huh.
I would gain it double back,
There you go.
and
Yes.
my legs.
That part.
So like
Yeah.
the real healthy slim me is really slim. And I
Exactly.
don't think people realize like your bones don't gain weight.
Exactly.
Your weight is gained on top
Exactly.
of your bones. So
Exactly.
if naturally, so my frame is really small and I'm putting all this weight on top of it, that's where those
Mm-hmm.
aches and pains start.
Exactly.
So for me it was my legs. It's like, wait a
Exactly.
minute, it was
Exactly.
like, one day I was flying, the next day it's like it's out of control.
Out of
Happy weight.
control.
I
Oh
got
my
happy weight.
God.
I got married, I'm happy.
Happy, exactly. You know what? And comfortable. You get comfortable.
Yes,
You get comfortable. And let me say that. I like
it's
what you
true.
said though, happy weight,
Happy
because
weight.
we start, especially you're right, when we get married, we get a man that's gonna accept us for who we are, what we look like, whatever. But at the end of the day, is that really helping us? Because we really need help.
Yeah, yes.
For the ones of us, I'm talking about for the ones of us that are really struggling hard
Yes.
with this addiction
Yes.
called food. We really need help.
Mm-hmm.
And are we denying the fact that we need to do better with our weight and make sure that we're healthy at the end of the day? Because
Right.
that's what counts,
It
is
is.
that we're
That's
healthy.
it.
You know what I mean? And there's a lot of, and I don't like the word fat. I don't like to use that word fat. Because when people used to say that to me when I was, you know, I used to get so offended. Now I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be called fat. Now maybe
Big either. That's
we
another.
big. Lord have mercy, that big word. I don't like big and I don't like fat. I don't.
Like I know I look at myself every
Yeah,
day.
I have
Like
to.
you.
You have to
Yeah.
find another, like, heavyweight. I don't even like heavyweight. I don't know. Just big girl. No, I don't want to be no big girl. I don't want to be called thick. Just I don't know. How can we define ourselves?
Overweight.
I don't like
You
that
don't like
word.
that either?
No, that makes me feel like I can't come back from it. Can't come back. Overweight. I don't know. You
All
know
right.
what? We need to, in the comments. Let's help us out over here.
What is a good word?
Yes, what's a good word that's not too descriptive,
That's user friendly.
that's user friendly, that you can help us with, because we don't want to be called fat and overweight and big bone
Mm-hmm.
and chunky and all them things. Give us a word. You guys out there can help us out, okay? If you're
Right.
listening, help us out in the comments. Do it in the comments, okay? But be nice now. Don't come out with nothing worse than what we're talking about. Be nice.
That
All
is so
right.
funny.
All right. So listen now, we talking about food,
Right.
and we're talking about how our food can be, how we treat food or food treats us. And well, food don't treat us really. We the one that control the food.
Right.
The
Right.
food shouldn't control us. Let's
Right.
say it like that. Food shouldn't be our point of wanting to wake up in the morning and just go straight, to get something to eat, and then eat all day. Just eat the
Right.
whole
Right.
day.
Right.
After you have a big, I've seen these people on TV. I don't understand it. I don't
You talking about that
understand.
show?
I ain't gonna call the show, but I'm pretty sure everybody watch it. I ain't calling it, but it's a very popular show, and these people. There's no reason for nobody to eat no 15 eggs at one sitting, or 20
Oh my
pieces of
goodness.
bacon, and then 15 pieces of sausage, and then toast, loaf of bread, for toast. And that's just, no, that's just too much. And see, when we talk about these things, let me say this: we can have the food now. You can eat what you want to eat. From what how they was telling me, you can eat what you want to eat, but you just gotta, do it in moderation.
Right.
You don't,
Correct.
you don't eat everything at one time,
Yes. Yes.
or eat double of all this, and it has 1,002 calories. You
Mm-hmm.
gotta, we can have what we want.
Right.
I eat what I want, really, and I'm still losing weight. Is because I have control over the food. The food don't have control over me.
That's it.
All
That's
right,
it.
so I'm gonna talk about our journey.
Mm, 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 mm.
Well, let's talk about it for a
So
minute.
for me, I had to
Mm-hmm.
include God in it. I had to talk to him and
Right.
ask him to help me because it was out
Absolutely.
of control.
Out of
Right?
control.
Like it's
Yes.
happened. I'm overweight now, and it's like
Yes.
I'm trying to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
So what he helped me with was realizing, paying attention to what you're actually eating.
Exactly.
How much processed food is in
Exactly.
my diet? It was a lot. Like
Exactly.
processed food.
Exactly.
Some
Yep.
of the processed, now when you hear someone say processed food, you think yuck, but you'll be surprised
Mm-hmm.
what's processed. So I
Exactly.
started paying attention to the labels, and started paying attention to what
Mm-hmm.
exactly I'm putting in my body and what can I
Mm-hmm.
change.
Mm-hmm.
And like don't just set a goal like I'm gonna stop eating processed food for no,
Mm-hmm.
stop. It's a
Exactly.
lifestyle
It's
change.
really a
So I had to
lifestyle.
start, pulling things out and putting
Mm-hmm.
things in my diet
Mm-hmm.
plan
Good.
because
Yes.
it was too much processed
Too
food.
much processed food. So it was too much processed food for Fabulous. And for me, it's just downright sweets
Mm.
and macaronis and pastas and spaghetti. I mean anything rice, anything in that group.
Don't leave out the bread.
Oh my God. Lord, pull me from the table because I'm telling you, mm-mm.
Don't forget that bread.
Oh my God, bread. Anything in that food group, I could do with the meats. I didn't have to have the meats all the time and all of that. But when it came to pasta
Mm.
and rice and anything in that nature, and just that Italian stuff with the
Yeah.
sauces and
Cheese.
the cheese and
Mm-hmm.
all of that's where my weakness is, and sweets.
Yeah, that's sugar.
Now I gotta
I've been
say this.
tussling with the
I gotta,
sugar.
yeah, I gotta tell on myself because
I've been tussling with that
I
sugar.
used to order pies and things like that, pies, especially pies, sweet potato pies to be exact, and I would sit by myself
Mm.
and I wouldn't eat like slice the pie. I would just take a spoon and start scooping it from the middle and just eat the whole thing by myself. I wouldn't give nobody in the house none. That was my pie. Those were my pies. I didn't give nobody nothing. And when they saw the pie pan in the trash, they would say, "What? You had a pie, Mom?" "Yep. I don't have it no more." See what I'm saying? This is the problem. These are our struggles, and guess what? I still struggle with it today.
Yeah, that sugar.
I still do it
Mm.
today,
Mm, mm, mm,
and I'm gonna
mm,
tell
mm.
you guys something out there, and I know you're struggling with something too, cause it's just life.
It's
Life.
good.
You got that real?
It's good.
You got that real? Who wants? Listen. Now I'm saying this for me. I ain't saying it for nobody else. Not even Fabulous. But for the queen, I don't want no sugar free nothing. Don't offer me no sugar free, no Splenda and what is that other one called? Tribute?
Half and half.
Half and half and sweet and low. I don't want none of that. I want the real stuff. Don't give me no with no sugar in it now.
Oh my
I mean,
goodness.
you might get your feelings hurt because I gotta have the sugar stuff. But it's
Yeah,
it's in moderation.
that's it.
It's
That's
in
key.
moderation. It's now I can
Yeah.
have a pie in the house, slice me a little bit, and just put it in the refrigerator. And I mean, just let it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And
right.
and share.
Yes.
Everybody gets a slice now. So I'm just, we laughing about it because this is who we are. This is what it is. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? So I would hope that, even you guys out there, you share your comments with us as far as, how it is if you having a problem with your weight, and how you're getting through your struggle, because it can become a struggle. It really can.
Yeah,
You know
yes.
what I'm saying? And let me say this. I thank God. Thank God. I thank God for the doctors,
Mm-hmm.
because my doctor stayed on me. He really stayed on me. And he really, taught me from the medical end, what this was doing to my body.
Right, right.
And we're going to say this really quickly. One of the issues was that I didn't know that when you carry a lot of weight, that it weighs on your major organs,
See?
like your
See?
kidneys, your liver, even your heart, your major parts of your insides. That weight is laying on top of that,
Wow.
and it's in your kidneys are struggling to function. Your liver is struggling to function. Your heart is struggling to function,
Mm.
because you got all this excess weight. You see, I didn't know that. I mean, he really sat down and talked to me about these things. I didn't know that.
Wow. Wow.
So when even 10, 15 years ago, he'd been telling me about this and trying to help me out. So, you would, like Fabulous said, you would lose weight. I would lose the weight, and then I would just, after I lose the 35 pounds, I would just go. I'd be so happy. Now I can really eat.
Right.
And I
That's
could
yes.
really eat now, and
Yes.
thinking that the 35 pounds was going to stay away. But no, not only did the 35 pounds come back, but 35 more pounds came with it.
Yep, that's
And then I gained
it.
another, until I was almost, up there. I was close to three plus. I was in that area, three plus.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we try to sleep,
Oh man.
we're snoring so loud, because we're trying to breathe.
Yeah, fighting.
We're fighting to try to
Yeah,
breathe.
it's true. It's true.
And it was affecting us all of these kind of ways. I didn't know that. And even when I, this last time, my husband was saying, you got to do something.
Mm-hmm.
If it's bothering you, you got to go do something. I love you, he would tell me. I love you, and I want you here with
That's
me.
it. Yeah, that's true.
They don't want, they want us here. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to really pray about it. Like you said, I had to
Yeah.
go to God and say, God, you got to help me with
Mm-hmm.
this, because this is a struggle.
Mm-hmm. And forgive me, right?
Yeah,
Because we do it to
yeah, we
ourselves.
really
Like we do it to
do. We
ourselves.
really
Like,
do,
mm-hmm.
and then, I went back to the doctor. This last time, I think last year, it was around this, maybe last year, I think it was, because this is 25, so 24, I think it was way in the beginning of last year. And I went to him, and he talked to me, and he said, listen, this new drug came out, and he put me on Manjaro. And so at first, I resisted, because I don't want to be on all that stuff. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? So I went on. I said, okay, I'll take it. Well, y'all, I did try it. I did try it for 1 week. The second week, didn't do it no more,
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't like the way it made me feel. But it was a game changer. That one shot I took, one shot, that was a game changer. And from that day, I mean, after that, I ain't take no more shots,
Mm-hmm.
because I said it. I'm not gonna get addicted to this. You know what I mean? We got to learn how to do stuff on our own.
Right. That's
So we
it.
got to pull the flesh under subjection. We got to do that. We got to tell the flesh just no.
Yes. Yep.
We got to
Yep.
discipline the flesh.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so I had to know I can't. No, I'm not going to depend on this. And I don't. First of all, I don't like needles. I don't like the way it make me feel. So that's just a hard no. And so, but it was a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
And from that day, I've been on my own, and I've lost 100 pounds
Beautiful.
plus, and I'm
Beautiful.
still got 25 more pounds to go, because I want to lose 20. There's certain weight area I want to be in, and I'm going to get there, this summer. So it it takes discipline. It takes a lot of discipline because you don't have to be on all those drugs to lose weight.
No,
You just change your way you think in your mind, you
how
know
you
what I mean?
approach it, how
And
you
how
approach
you
food.
approach it, you know what I mean? And I'm not knocking nobody that's on these things. I'm saying this was my testimony. This is what helped me. And I'm not saying Manjora didn't help me because it was a game changer. I don't know, it did something in that 1 week where I just kind of started getting into a rhythm of my own. And I really forgot about this thing, taking it. And next thing I know, the weight was coming off. And I wasn't sticking myself every week.
Right,
You see what I'm
right,
saying?
right,
So
right.
it changes your mind. And I'm not saying that, sometimes you might need a little help, not saying that you won't. But I'm saying we don't want to get addicted to anything that we're not in control of.
Right,
That's what I'm trying to
right.
say.
That's
We
beautifully
want to
stated.
stay in control of our bodies and what our bodies is doing. Fabulous.
That is so true. That's like you don't want to get addicted because you're addicted
Right.
to food already, right? You don't
Exactly.
want to get addicted to medication either.
Exactly,
You don't.
exactly. And it's not that you don't need to help sometimes. Sometimes you just need to help just to get you started.
Right, right.
Right? But you don't want to stay on it. Now you're dependent on this. Like she said, you're dependent on food. You want to be in control of your own life. You know what I mean? So I thank God, that, and I feel so much
See, that's the part right
better.
there. You feel better. Um,
I
like a
feel
lot of
so
the
much
stuff we
better.
sometimes like that processed food have
Yes,
you sluggish.
yes,
No
indeed.
energy, like
Yes,
low on energy
indeed.
and
Yes,
feeling weighted
indeed.
down. But
Yes,
when you
indeed.
like start the process of switching things out, instead of
Yes,
having this, this cake, I'm gonna make
yes.
me some grapes and some cheese.
Exactly,
You know what I mean? Your
exactly,
snacks. You change.
exactly.
You feel lighter.
You feel much better.
You feel
It's
lighter.
it's like you don't want to disturb your peace with the weight you've lost. You don't want to disturb that part of who you are because now you don't, retract it back to what you used to do. You
Right.
know what I mean? You don't want to disturb that peace. I'm at peace. I'm at peace now. And I know I'm in a rhythm where I can control this and I'm in control.
Right.
And I love it.
Yes.
It's a good place to
It
be.
really
And
is.
people, out there, you're struggling with whatever. I don't care whether it's cigarettes or, because I used to have struggle with that too. With drugs or with a relationship, whatever it is, God is here to help us all,
Yeah.
but we gotta help
Gotta help
ourselves. You
ourselves.
see, we're gonna have to help ourselves and ask God to give us a plan that will, help us to reach a goal, and which is really gonna help us at the end of the day. This is
Yes.
helping us.
Yes, it is.
You know what
It
I'm
is.
saying? I mean,
Helping us to live.
absolutely. I got
That's
to live a
true.
long life. You see. So, yeah, this is the 100 pounds is good. I haven't gained anything back, thank God, and I'm just on this journey. I love it. Fabulous. You want to talk a little
Um,
more?
yes, so I came down 30
Good.
and
That's
I'm working
fabulous.
to keep it off,
There you
right?
go.
So you gotta acknowledge the problem. And you
Exactly.
definitely need that plan in place, and it
Exactly.
needs to be a realistic plan.
Exactly.
Don't do no. Be realistic. Like
Exactly.
Queen said something earlier that's important. What works for one may not work for you. So please, like, do something that's realistic that you can stick to.
There you
You
go.
can stick to it. So you gotta include the exercise and the journey of eating right, because your
Exactly.
body needs to be actively moving, right?
Exactly.
I
Absolutely.
had reduced a lot of that in my life. I was
Yeah.
more active back then, and that's why the weight used to fall off. And when life happens, being married, you're working, you're taking care of your family, you gotta take care of yourself.
There you go.
And I don't, sometimes you may not can't do it always in the morning. Just get it in that 24-hour period.
That
I
part.
realized
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Because at one point I'm geared to, it needs to be this time, and if
Mm-hmm.
I miss that time, it's like, okay, I'll try again tomorrow. No,
Yep.
get it in later,
Get it in later.
just so that you can say, keep to the plan. Like every day
Exactly.
I'm working out,
There you go.
every day I'm eating better,
There you
and
go.
you'll see the difference.
That
You will
part.
see the difference.
That's what you got to see. We looking for good results.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of every struggle, there's victory. But
Yes.
we got to go through the process, and
Mm-hmm.
we have to realize that we're, everybody else isn't the problem. We're the problem.
Yes.
We
Yep.
got to deal with ourselves because
Really
sometimes
do.
we the one that sat down at the table and ate. Listen, I was eating for two,
Yep. Me
and
too.
I wasn't even pregnant. I'm just eating for two. My plate used to be ridiculous. Y'all, I'm talking real talk.
Of
My
course,
plate,
it
oh
control,
my
right?
God, it was out of control.
Like, do you need three
Do I need,
scoops,
I
or
don't need
can you
it.
just survive off of that one?
I got to do
And
one.
people, I don't think people realize the cooking utensils are actually measured.
Exactly.
They're measured. So like, we got it
Exactly.
going on. We're just not.
There you go.
You don't need two scoops. Scoop one.
Listen, that part right
Take 2 ounces,
there.
and that's
Please, you
it.
would have told me that a year ago. I would have probably,
The cooking
we would
utensils are
have,
measured.
listen, we've been throwing hands. What you talking about? Don't tell me to use no one spoonful.
You don't have to double dip for that rice. One spoonful, 1 ounce or two
Oh my
ounces
God, let me tell
will
you
pile it up.
something. Once you get your mind trained,
Right.
that's the way you're gonna think. That's exactly how you're gonna think. Cause I'm careful about what I eat.
Yes.
You
Yep.
know what I mean?
Yep.
I am careful about what my plate looks like. My husband will tell you, I've changed a whole lot. I mean, I was eating more than he was.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just listen. We talking a lot today, but we can may cut it off. But let's
Yes.
say this: it was a time, and this is when I was really out of control. When I would get in the car with my husband, and he was a little smaller than I was, not, tall wise, we're about the same height, but I'm talking about weight size. He was a little bit smaller. And I used to get in the car, and it used to be like nobody was driving the car, but he was driving. But because I was so heavy, they couldn't see him.
Wow.
So it was like the car was driving itself, and I was just on the passenger side. That really kind of messed me up in my head
Mm.
because I don't want people think we riding around in a car that's driving itself, and
Mm-hmm.
my husband over there driving, but because I'm the shade that's covering him, nobody can't see him. That was embarrassing. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
these are the little things that helped me. I'm talking about Queen
Right.
to get where I am today. 100 pounds down. That's my
That's
testimony,
awesome.
and I'm gonna
Awesome.
keep it off.
Awesome.
And my doctor is so proud of me.
Mm-hmm.
But most of
Mm-hmm.
all, God is proud of
That's
me,
it.
and
That's
and
it.
that's who I'm really aiming to please is
Right.
God,
Right.
because He wants all of us to live long life.
Mm-hmm.
He wants all of us to live healthy. He wants all of us to be in good health,
Right.
because He wants our soul to prosper.
That's it.
You see,
That's
that's
it.
word. You know what I
That's
mean?
it.
So let's get on this health journey. Okay?
Yes.
If you need, any help, then there's so many great things out here that can help you. What worked for me may not work for you.
Right.
What worked for Fabulous may not work for you. Whatever works for you, do it.
Do it.
But just do it. Make
Right.
sure you do it.
Have to do it.
Okay, and listen, we had a long conversation today, and we gonna get to walking. Even me, I got to get out here and do some walking. I got to
Yes.
get my exercise and stuff in
Mm-hmm.
because I haven't been doing it. But I'm gonna get out here and do some walking and exercising, and I encourage you to do it as well. Whatever this food journey takes you, make sure it's just taking you down the right path.
That's it.
And we're not telling you to give up or restrict yourself from anything. I'm not saying that, because you can have what you want. You can eat what you want to eat, but just eat it in
Moderation.
moderation.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and let's lose this weight together.
Yes.
I'm on a 25 a pound loss journey. What about you?
I want to come down 100.
So my sister over here, fabulous, want to come down 100. I want to
Right.
do 25 more pounds because guess what? Next year we're going on a
That's
cruise.
it.
And
We
we
gotta
can't we
get
can't we
ready.
can't be up here trying to breathe, trying to get to the
struggling,
airplane
struggling
with
from one
luggage
end of the ship to the
and
other.
no way. I am not doing it.
We're not paying for double
Oh,
seats. That's what they're doing on the plane.
exactly.
I heard that,
Oh,
read that. They make you pay
yeah.
for double seats.
Double seats. Oh no, we're not gonna be there. No double seats. We're gonna be down 25 more pounds and 100 pounds.
Yes.
And then we're gonna come back and have to revisit this conversation again
Absolutely.
after we've done that.
Yes.
Okay? Listen, we love you guys. We thank you for popping on with us and talking with us. And I don't know who's up here.
It
Let's
looks like
see.
Maria. Hi,
Hi,
Maria.
Maria.
Justin Jefferson.
Hi, Mr. Jefferson.
And I'm sorry, the person who's from Iran, I don't see your name.
But do you want me to what?
Teach you Persian.
Ooh. Hi, how are you going to teach us Persian, sir? Persian what? We want to live now. Persian what?
If you got some some meal ideas.
Yeah, talk to us. We pop back on, okay? From Iran?
Right. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, Iran. Hey.
Hi.
All right. So listen, we're getting ready to get off, so you guys can go ahead and finish enjoying your day. We got things to do on this end. So listen, thank you so much for joining us on
Yes.
today. And remember that we're always on Mondays at 12 noon, if it be the Lord's will. We're coming up with another topic next. I think next week. Let's talk about self-care.
Self-care.
We
Yeah.
need to talk about
yes. It's
self-care.
important.
Yeah, so we'll talk about some self-care and maybe, we can have a conversation with you guys that are coming on that can help us, in these areas. And thank you once again for coming on today. And you know what, Mr. I don't see your name, but teach you Persian. That's kind of interesting. What do you think?
Yeah, I
Fabulous.
mean, why not?
You
If you
know,
got some ideas, leave it in the
ideas.
comments. Make
Yeah,
sure you
leave
put it in the
put it
comments.
in the comments, okay? And then we'll keep in contact if we can, okay? Listen, we're getting ready to get up out of here. I'm Queen,
I'm fabulous.
and we will see you at the Lord's will next week, same time, same place. Stay safe. We love you.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, I didn't do my candles.